Guys, we're becoming the Chiefs. I don't know if anybody's ready to deal with that, but we're becoming the Chiefs. Everybody
then
saying the officials are helping the Eagles because that's what it looked like yesterday. Welcome in, everybody, to a Monday edition of Birds 365. It's a victory Monday in Eagle land. They moved to 6-2 going into the bye week. They beat up on the New York Football Giants yesterday, 38-20. Johnny Mack, how you doing on this Monday morning, my friend?
Doing well. Yeah, big victory Monday going into a bye week. That's always good. You never want to lose going into a bye week and stew them in it for an extra group. So good to get the win over a New York Giants team. That is, we'll just call them the New York Giants. But Eagles handled their business, and that's always a good thing. Showed a lot of positive signs on the offensive side of the football, which made the defense look better. Complimentary football, man. Special teams. Will Shipley getting you field position. Complimentary football when it all comes together. That's what that was yesterday.
No doubt about it, John. They beat up on them. I know it's the lowly New York Giants, and I think they have returned back to planet Earth after their big Thursday night win. They might be even in the underworld now after that one. But it did. I do think the Eagles, it's one thing to win a game going into the bye week. I think that was a confidence-inspiring game. Even if you beat up on a lesser opponent, John, they got everything working. The run game was working. I think that's a positive going into the bye week for this team. They've obviously been talking a lot about that. So kind of everything clicked yesterday, John, and Jalen Hurts followed up his perfect passer rating last week with another strong, solid, efficient passing performance for him as well. So a lot of things clicking for the team, John, going into the bye week.
Yeah. I think this heavy package really worked for them yesterday with Fred Johnson as the honorary tight end on National Tight Ends Day. Pin and pull. They pulled out the pin and pull game to get some of those double teams that they haven't been able to get because of the heavy boxes they've been facing. So once the running game clicks, and it's funny because they've been so bad in the running game this year, which is completely confounding. And they show up one day in October and they run for 276 yards, which is the best number of any NFL team this season. And it just seems easy. Continues the narrative of a weird season for this team. But man, when they get it going, and I gave a lot of credit on our post-game show to Brett Toth. I thought he played a tremendous game, at least when you compare it to expectations. And maybe, having a healthy player in there versus a banged up player helped as well. But he did a good job. And, Landon Dickerson, that's the first time you saw Landon Dickerson look like a semblance of Landon Dickerson this year. That hole on the 65-yard touchdown, 17 seconds, that's what Saquon was getting last year. And we said, wow, look at these holes. That's the first time he got it. And then you saw his juice. He still got it. He was gone. But that was it's like they paved a new lane on I-95, man. That was that was luxurious to go through that hole. So, old school.
Yeah, he got that safety had no chance.
Yeah. Old school 2024, if you can call that old school Eagles football.
Yeah, no doubt about it. John, how about two running backs over the century mark, man? Saquon.
Yeah, how about Tank Bigsby? He's no longer a kickoff returner.
No, they moved Will Shipley to kick returner, and he's done well there. Not that he moved him there. He was there before, but he's now the prime guy at kick return. And Tank Bigsby looks like he could be the running back too here in Philly. So
he is. That page has been turned. He is. Now, he had some ball security issues in Jacksonville. So if that pops up, they'll revisit. But as long as he takes care of the football, he's got the kind of juice that A.J. Dillon certainly doesn't have. And
it's a good change of pace from Barkley, John. I mean, it's a small sample size so far, but it does look good in what we've seen. Obviously, 9 for 104. You can say that, but I do think just in general, the change of pace and the he looks like he's the right fit to kind of go with Barkley.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they had a really nice fit with Kenny last year. A little bit different because I think Kenny's, is better as a third down back. But I certainly think it's a better contrast than what was going on with AJ and Will when he was healthy. So yeah, that's a positive. A lot of positives. The pass rush showed up. Amazing. The pass rush showed up when you get to pin your ears back. Again, complimentary football.
Right.
Jalix Hunt had a big day when it came to pressures. So yeah, I mean that was nothing's ever perfect in the NFL, which Nick will tell you correctly. But that was a pretty impressive performance from all three phases.
Yeah, no doubt. They dominated in the game yesterday. 38-20 was your final, but it really felt to me more like a 38-13. Giants got that late touchdown from Jackson Dart rushing the ball. But other than that, they really beat up on them. Cam Scatterboo went down, obviously, also.
That's
was
devastating, by the way.
Yeah.
That was brutal looking into. I don't recommend people watch that.
No, and I'm a little, just sending up my prayers for him today because I don't know what happened or how bad it was, John, but they did rush him into surgery last night in Philly.
Yeah.
So that typically means, I read somewhere that typically means he might have punctured, came out of the skin. I hope not, but I hope he's okay. That's a tough injury, and there is stuff down there, I think, where it could his career at risk maybe. So we'll see how Cam Scatterboo does. Hopefully he bounces back. John, one thing I got to mention here at the Open, and for anybody who watches Birds 365, they know that this is not what we do. John, the over legislation was showing.
I don't have a problem talking about the over legislation of the league.
Yeah, but sometimes it rears its head worse than other games. The officiating in the game yesterday was brutal. And by the way, on all sides, not just against or for the Eagles. It was on all sides of the ball, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, it was a poor effort. But, like I say, that's baked in. From my perspective, just the thought on blaming officials. And the team, let's be honest, the team that had more right to blame the officials yesterday was the Giants. But look, that's one of my biggest criticisms of Brian Daboll coming out of this game. Dude, you're not a fan. You got some bad breaks. Act like you've been there before. You've been a coach for a while. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
And good teams tend to persevere through those things, and bad teams tend to fall apart. And I think you saw a bad team fall apart. And part of that is a mirror-like effect to the head coach. How you handle that kind of stuff is going to translate to the players as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was, look, I never shy away. I say, I'll talk all day about the over legislation in this game. It is brutal. It is absolutely awful. What I don't talk about is officials, on-field officials, because half of the time, I think fans don't even realize they're not complaining about the on-field officials. They're complaining about the rule, the legislation. They don't like the rule, which is fine, but
some of it yesterday, though, was just
some of it yesterday was just poor performance.
By the way, though, our narrative, John, people used to use the narrative: the league is out to get the Eagles. The refs beat the Eagles. Guys, we're becoming the Chiefs. I don't know if anybody's ready to deal with that, but we're becoming the Chiefs. Everybody saying to us, the officials are helping the Eagles, because that's what it looked like yesterday.
Well, I don't go that far either. What I will say, and I've said pretty consistently, they're not helping, but if you're a good team, you tend to get the benefit of the doubt. Right. That's how it works. It's always worked that way. It always will work that way. And they're a good team. So they're starting to get the benefit of the doubt a lot. Again, no different. Always that way. If the governor's listening, Josh, it's always that way. Now the Eagles are getting that advantage. And that's earned almost. I don't agree with it. I always go to the NBA. Like, you shouldn't give, hey, Michael Jordan, let's give him the bet. You shouldn't do that, but people do. And that's just the reality of the situation.
No doubt. Johnny McNabb, another big performance for Jalen Hurts yesterday, man. It was lesser in the air, but it's because obviously they ran the ball for 276 yards. But he went 15 to 20, 179, 4 touchdowns, and a 141 rating, John. Jalen Hurts playing very efficient football right now. His second week in a row of just answering the calls and doing what he has to do at that position, protecting the football. 4 touchdown passes yesterday. How about 2 tutties for Dallas Goedert on tight end day? Big performance from Jalen Hurts once again, and credit to Dotson, Goddard. Barkley had a catch or a touchdown through the air. So another good performance, John, from Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, very efficient. Obviously, they didn't have to throw it much, only 20 pass attempts. Devontae stepped up into that wide receiver 1 role, was always open, seemed like he was always open all day whenever they needed it. Dallas leads the NFL in touchdown receptions. How about that? 7, career high 7 already. John Dotson, not a lot of volume, but comes up with a big catch. Yeah, I mean, that's how the Eagles want to play. Run the football down people's throat and be efficient in the passing game. And again, that's sort of Philadelphia Eagles football. That's how they want to look, how they looked against the New York Giants. Now it is the New York Giants. Let's all put that into perspective. So I know we're going to get a lot of, do they even need A.J. Brown and all that kind of stuff? Well, probably not against the New York Giants. And,
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think they're going to need A.J. Brown down the road. So I would temper those thoughts pretty quickly that they're better without A.J. Brown. People forget quickly against better teams when they haven't had him, how it's looked. So I would be careful with that. But yesterday, look, you can only play who's in front of you, and the Eagles played who was in front of them, and they dominated the football game.
Yep, no doubt about it. Good stuff there. John, defensively, what did you see yesterday, man? I mean, I think that Giants team they're starting to look like themselves again. Sometimes, I mean, it was a fun little spurt of energy they got when they put Jackson Dart in there, but they just don't have the talent right now. But what do you think of the defense, John? You mentioned the pass rush showed up. The interior of that D-line looked great as well. The 3 guys in the middle of Jomo, Carter, and Davis. What did you see from that defense yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, pass rush shows up, and again, that's a lot of that is situational, making them one-dimensional, making them predictable. The New York Giants were very predictable when they got behind by a large number, and then you can pin your ears back and you see a lot of success. So, look, if you could play that way, it's going to look good. And they were able to play that way. Also, very limited, the Giants, from a receiver standpoint. So, what I found the most interesting is the playing time between Nakobe Dean and Jahad Campbell, which heavily slanted towards Nakobe Dean, but that's because they kept the Giants in base looks, because the Giants also don't have a ton of receivers, as I mentioned. So that'll change, but that's an interesting, tough to call it a problem because you're talking about 2 good players, but boy, when you see the next day and Jahad Campbell only plays 21 snaps, you go, really?
See, I don't. I mean, how do you view that? I don't really view it as an indictment on Jahad. I just think Nakobe Dean's a better player right now. I mean, he's a 4. He's been
he's better. He's better at certain things, and I think Jahad's better. So you saw Nakobe get caught on that one wheel route.
Yeah.
I think Jahad's a better athlete, so I think he's better in space. Nakobe, though, is better. Certainly better as a run defender. Certainly better when it comes to understanding the game, football IQ. Not saying he's a smarter player. He's just got more experience.
Yeah, right.
He is a very smart
in year
player.
4. I mean, Jahad's a rookie. Yeah.
And obviously, big trust him. That's obvious. So, good problem to have, but it is interesting because I think Jahad Campbell has played really, really well. Along, even with those rookie hiccups, I think it was you look at PFF, I think it was the top ranked rookie in the NFL.
Yeah, or up there.
Defensive player.
Up there, yeah.
I think he was number 1. So interesting. And obviously he's not ready to help that much on the edge. And after the bye, if you have Nolan Smith back, which they're hoping to get back, if you have Brandon Graham out there, which is he's going to be out there, there's even less need for him to play on the edge. So that's going to be interesting moving forward. But the results yesterday were the results. Jakobi looked great again, except for that one play. And it worked, so tough to criticize.
Yeah, no doubt. Jakobi's just great in run defense, man. He explodes through the gap. He really is good at.
Plus, I mentioned that it also enables Zach Bond to be more of a more freedom, more of a, I don't want to say freelancing because that's not the right word, but you can do a lot more things with Zach Bond when Jakobi's out there holding down the fort, so to speak.
Yeah, and that Zach Bond made the hit on Cam Scatterbo, who had who obviously got injured, is out for the season now on that play. That was a Zach Bond hit, John. I hate to go there, but that's why I don't know. What do you think of the hip drop tackle? That looked like a hip drop tackle to me. Now I've always been of the opinion, isn't that how you tackle in football? But I guess they're trying to legislate that out of the game too.
Yeah, and
looked like one to me.
It's difficult. I'll say this. I had never heard the term hip drop tackle until they said the term hip drop tackle.
Yeah, right. A couple years ago, whenever the heck it was.
Never heard it. Been covering the game for 30 years almost. Never heard it until they dubbed it what they dubbed it. Yeah, I mean, if you get caught and people drag you down, obviously you're susceptible for those types of injuries. Yeah. But I don't know how you remove it other than this mentality, which I don't agree with, that if you find players, it'll sort of teach them to tackle, or they're just trying to get the guy down.
I mean, how do you tell you got Cam Scatterbo? This kid's like a little tank.
Yeah, I know.
How do you tackle him without lowering your body?
That's my point. In the second, you can tell this is made by people who don't play the game. In a second, in a millisecond, you're just trying to get the freaking guy down. And some of these guys are just, as you mentioned, in this case, you have a tank. Sometimes it's, Bijan Robinson or Jahmyr Gibbs or these unbelievable athletes, and you're just trying to get them on the ground. And you're saying, oh, but dude, it's like, come on. But it is what it is.
Yeah, people are saying it wasn't a hip drop. That's fine. I'm just saying off first view. I didn't go back and rewatch that play very much.
I rewatched it.
Yeah, that play. I hate seeing injuries in football, man. I really hate watching them. So I didn't.
I know Zach Bond's not a dirty player. If that's what
no, he's not a dirty player at all. Yeah, come on, man. Zach Bond's a good guy. You can tell he's a good guy. So there's no way he had bad intent there. I just brought it up because that's what it looked like from me at first glance. We're gonna get Jeff Curran today. I want to welcome and thank everybody for being here. It is a Victory Monday for all of Eagles Nation. All right, peace is restored in the NFC East. The Giants are riding a little high there for a couple weeks.
Yeah, Cowboys laid an egg in Denver. Oh, everything coming up. Eagles, Commanders will probably lose tonight. And the Giants are the Giants.
What did you think of that Packer game last night?
Yeah, Packers are a problem.
Micah Parsons is unbelievable.
He's pretty good.
He's
pretty good.
He is unbelievable. Watching him play is remarkable. I mean, he is a problem on every single snap. Every snap. It's amazing.
Which is why I couldn't believe some of the narratives. I'm like, all right, these are people who aren't watching Micah Parsons. But it wasn't even Micah yet. I mean, he's phenomenal, but Jordan Love got hot in the second half, and when that guy gets hot, they might be the best thing. And Tucker Kraft, my God, nobody can tackle this guy.
He's amazing, man. He really plays. I like the way he plays the position. Obviously,
they're a good team. Now, like every team, they have holes. I'm not in love with their secondary. And they didn't look great the entire game. They were behind for a large portion of the game, and then they just turned it on. But when they're clicking, they're scary. And that's why I say after the bye, that game at Green Bay, and then you have Detroit here, that's going to tell you a lot about the top of the NFC. They're all playoff teams, obviously. And you're probably going to have to face one of them again somewhere down the road at the bare minimum, maybe both.
You're going to face one of these teams again. We played the Bucs, we played the Rams, we got the Packers, we got the one of them we're going to see again. There's no doubt.
So those two games are going to tell you a lot. But they're a really good team, the Packers.
Yeah. Now they look good last night. I just think Jordan Love is too streaky sometimes for me. I mean, sometimes he looks like you mentioned in that second half last night, and then other times I'm just like, oh gosh, he doesn't look good. But that's kind of, I guess,
isn't that every quarterback?
It is. It really is. Look at Dak Prescott yesterday. I was calling him the best quarterback in football through 7 weeks. I mean, John, this is what I always laugh at too, though. And I guess this is just the nature of being on the screen and airing your opinions consistently. Someone's like, Zander, you were wrong on Dak. I'm like, was I? Wasn't he the best quarterback through first 7 weeks? I mean, he was up there. Now,
I mean, you have to
get the narrative has changed. I don't think I was wrong. I just think he shit the bed, and now we got to talk about that.
If you, it's amazing. It's one of the things. I mean, if you're around for a long time, you'll see people bringing up something you said from 3 years ago and saying, "Oh, you were," I mean. Everything evolves minute by minute, game by game. Look at what Josh Allen did yesterday, the reigning MVP of the NFL. And I think people will look, well, Buffalo won 40-9. Well, Cook had like 200 and something yards rushing. I'm looking at what Josh Allen was 12 of 19, 163 yards. And that's an improvement. He was early in the game when I looked at it. He was not playing well, and Cook was just going nuts. So you've seen it with Jalen Hurts. We go from the wild swing. Now Jalen's in the MVP conversation. 4 weeks ago, it was like, what's wrong with this guy? Now he's MVP conversation. Things swing wildly in this league. So Jordan Love's not any different than anybody else. But when you see when he's really cooking like he was in the second half last night, what was I got to look him up now? I mean, he had a big game.
Do you think Jalen Hurts is in the MVP conversation? I think he might be, John. I mean, that's part of the testament to the team success, but also his personal success. Protecting the football. I mean, a lot of 7 touchdown passes in the last 2 weeks, and he doesn't turn the ball over, man. So now he's got, these crazy numbers, 15 tutties, not 1 interception.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you're the quarterback of the best team and your passer ratings like 115, you're in the MVP conversation. And they have one of the best records in football. And as you mentioned, he's in the MVP conversation. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that much, except for the people that like and covet personal awards, but he's definitely in the conversation. But, there's going to be a game where it doesn't look good. It's the way it is.
Yeah, it's football, man. Not everybody's going to play great every week. There's no doubt about it. Good stuff there. John, is the running game back?
Well, you can see they can do it, and so that's a positive. But again, I look at the opponent and say, not necessarily. But I do think at its height, you can see what they do, because there's very few teams in this league that can run for 276 yards, as proof by nobody did it until yesterday during this season. So, very positive, but I'm not going to say it's going to translate to other teams, because other teams are going to do things differently and force different things. And the Giants seem to be comfortable getting beaten up on. It's funny, I'm very cognizant when the leaves fall as a homeowner now. And I've always compared the NFL season to the leaves falling. There's at some point when shitty teams realize they're shitty. I've had this talk with Jody over the years, and that's when you want to play them, because they're going to give up if they don't play well early. And I think this was the week. If you look around the league, the Giants are an example of this. The Browns are an example of this. The Saints, the Fighting Kellen Moores are an example, and the Titans specifically. Those 4 teams just gave up. They said, "You know what? It's not going our way. We're packing it in." The leaves fell in those particular cities for those teams.
No doubt. John, we just talked about how much it can change on quarterbacks too. Go look at the running back though, man. I mean, Saquon Barkley, we were talking about the yards per carry. He's already up to 4.1 now on the season after one game. Now, that's still not the greatest number, but he's up out of the threes. He's got 519 yards on the season. So look out. A couple more games like that for Saquon Barkley. He will be way past the century mark. So we'll see what he does in the coming weeks. Eagles going into the bye week, everybody, 6-2. They beat the Giants yesterday 38-20. Beat up on them pretty good.